Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scotch Podcast. I'm Mollie Wilson and this is Billy Starling, my vice captain. Today for episode 12 we have Seb Henderson on the other side of the table. How you going, Seb?
Great. It's a little bit different on the other side of the table today. I'm a little bit lost, but it's great to be here. Episode number 12, Mollie.
We are glad to have you, our former host of the podcast. I think that we should be taking your side on the table from now on. Billy's going to get us started off with some quick fire questions.
All right, Seb, it's going to be pretty similar to what you did with us. So we'll start off with favourite sport.
Tennis.
Ooh, favourite AFL team.
Port Adelaide.
Fair enough. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh, that's interesting, Billy. So it matters. I was trying to contemplate this actually on Saturday when I had a pizza, and I got to the theory that a handful of pineapple could be good for a medium-sized pizza, a small handful for a smaller-sized pizza, and then a large pizza, you can go one and a little grab as well. But when you spread it out, these pineapple slices, they need to be 2 by 2 centimetre cubes, and they need to go for each sort of maybe 5 by 5 centimetres. So what sometimes happens with pineapple on pizza...
Sebo, this is supposed to be quick fire questions.
The answer is to an extent, moderately.
Cubes or slices?
Cubes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't just grab like a pineapple circle, just...
No. Cubes, and it has to be in a perfect ration.
Okay, do you listen or watch podcasts?
I listen to the majority, but I'll watch the Scotch podcast.
I understand, just watch back your highlights and just...
No, Billy, that's just ridiculous.
It's not like the twos highlights when you get them, you just rewatch that 10 times and see all your disposals, or...
No, Billy, that's just silly. My bad.
Cats or dogs?
No, dogs.
Understandable. How's the one going back home?
Yeah, she's going well. Really good actually.
Good. City or countryside?
A countryside.
Perfect. Sunrise?
Sunrise.
Yeah, that's right. Understandable. Who would win in a battle, me or Mollie?
Mollie.
Okay, thanks.
I'm so
what are your
happy you
strengths?
said that.
What are your strengths, Billy? How would you beat Mollie in a fight?
I think I just have like longer reach, you know what I mean? Like my arms are just a little bit longer.
Yeah, but you move in slow motion. I'm Billy. Like Mollie would already be able to...
Boom.
And you'd be
Done.
all over.
Yeah.
So Mollie.
Okay.
Knockout round 1.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Seb.
Okay.
Mollie, do you want to get started with the first question then?
Sure. How did the podcast come about, Seb?
That's very interesting, Mollie, and that's a great question from yourself. So I was at a football game Saturday night, and I checked my emails for some strange phenomenon. And I saw there was an opportunity to be the host of the Scotch Podcast. And then initially I was a little bit hesitant, like, I haven't got much podcasting experience, but I love a chat and I love learning. And I was like, do you know what? Maybe this might be a good opportunity.
Do it.
So I took it on, expecting to get maybe 1 or 2 episodes, 2 at tops. And to look at today, Mollie.
Episode 12
Oh my gosh.
on world famous Mr. Ritson Day. Here we are.
Yeah, so that's how it started. Saturday night for your game, checking my emails.
That is awesome.
What
Very,
have you,
very cool.
What have you enjoyed most about taking on this role of host of the podcast?
Ex-host.
Yeah, well, like I just said, Mollie, I love talking and I love learning, and podcasting enables an environment where I can do both of those things. And yeah, I think it's really cool to put the headset on, speak into a microphone. I just love it. I love learning, I guess, about people and getting to know them about it.
Who's been the most interesting person or thing to learn about or talk about on the podcast you've had so far?
That's interesting. I'll say most interesting.
Us?
Probably one of my favourite ones.
Oh.
Your episodes.
Oh, stop.
But most interesting. I didn't mind the first one with Louie and Ella. I thought that was pretty interesting. That was very good.
That was a good podcast.
I enjoyed it. But my favourite podcast would be is it episode 9 when I had you guys on. I thought that
Episode 8.
episode 8. Well, there you go.
Nobody's counting.
So that was pretty cool. That was my favourite, but the first one was probably where I learnt the most.
Understandable. Keeping online with your favourites, what's been your favourite moment at Scotch, Seb?
Okay, I probably don't have a specific favourite moment, but I'd probably say the boarding house and the overall culture and what we pride ourselves on in the boarding house has probably been my favourite moment. Just the memories of being in the boarding house for 4 years, being in a top 100 international boarding house, the structure that they have in place, the leadership that's in there, the tutors,
The dining hall presidents.
The dining hall president, yes, absolutely.
I heard good things about that guy.
But from all sort of dynamics, like for our food to the facilities we get used to, like we can go up to Piranha whenever we want. We can use the pavilion, the ovals, the tennis courts. Like it's all there for us. We've got tutors that come in, help us with our homework.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, it's great. Physios, it's
wow, a full
it's
treatment.
School is your backyard.
it's really good at the boarding house, and some of the moments that I've had. In particular, shout out to the Tuesday night crew as well. So yeah, just a quick shout out. But yeah.
Lovely, lovely. You get to practice footy. Footy's your backyard here at Scotch with the Ovals. You were the first 18 girls runner this year.
I was. I can confirm that, Molly.
You can confirm best runner out there. What was your favourite moment being the first 18 girls runner?
Favourite moment? The state knockout win was pretty cool.
How good.
That was exciting.
Sitting there waiting while the ambulance was arriving.
Oh, yeah.
Missing out on class.
Yeah. No, my favourite moment's probably one day. I won't mention the person, but I ran up to him to give him some constructive criticism or some feedback in terms. And the simple response was, what would you, beep, 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 know what you are doing? And that was just a real, probably my favourite moment looking back. Not at the time, but it was a
funny moment.
It was very much like, oh, well, I'll just go back to the bench and sit down.
Such a welcoming answer.
Yeah, so that was very interesting. But another one of my favourite moments has probably been in the last training when we're going around the circle, and a couple of the team members talked about me and just emphasised, how much that I can bring to the team, or like that I help out. That
And
I'm
you truly
more than
did.
just a runner, Molly.
Yeah, you are more than just a runner.
Anyway, but
That
yeah,
really
that's
shined
pretty
through on
cool.
footy presentation night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice words.
I have to head off.
Okay.
Oh,
Goodbye, guys.
see you, Molly.
Enjoy the rest of your interview.
Have a
Not
great
interview,
day.
your podcast, rather.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, it feels weird without the headphones off now.
Anyway, we'll continue.
So we're down
Seb.
to 2.
Yeah, just you and me. That's lovely. Sort of back onto that. What girl was sort of odd? Who was the hardest to get a message across to on the footy field?
Molly.
Was it,
No, not Molly. Who's the hardest to get across to?
yeah, who was really stubborn? Like you try and ask them, if you're in the midfield, just move, float back. Who is as stubborn as you are, mate?
Yeah, there's a couple, but I won't mention.
Okay, understandable. And we know, as well as podcasting, you're Stewart House captain.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So what's been your biggest challenge as Stewart House captain so far? What have you got in and thought, wow, that's pretty tough. How am I going to get past this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Probably the toughest element is establishing a sense of a trusting team to be able to explore the visions that you want to explore. So at the end of the day, I try to look at it as like, here's the goal, how are we going to get to it? And a big aspect of that, how you're going to get to it, is having a bit of a team behind you to do it. Like I physically can't do it all.
Yeah.
Just there's not enough time in the day to be able to do that. But if I'm able to have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 people that are willing to help out whenever, then the job can get delegated, or I can then help them do the job and be there to comfort them. So that's probably the toughest element, is about trying to build a team around you. So you're not just doing it by yourself, but doing it with others
So
as
it's
well.
sort of been breaking down. You've got an end goal you want to achieve, and been breaking that down to small steps and building a team of people around you. So the Year 12 leadership as a group.
And it's Year 12s, and it might be Year 9s, might be Year 10s, Year 11s. But if you've got people that are willing to help you out and that as well, then those people might have a couple of people that help them out. Yeah. And then they might have a couple of people. And you see this cultural change where more people are getting involved because they believe, not only, in the house, but they believe in the visions that we're going to and to achieve these goals. So that's the toughest thing, but that's the most rewarding thing as well.
On that, do you think that's been one of the key parts to Stewart's success sort of this year? Like how they've sort of, I know from the outsider's perspective, Stewart sort of looks like they're all one big group, and there's real sense of, I don't know how you describe it, but like...
Probably unity.
Unity would be probably a perfect word for it. And you're all just one, you do things together a lot. And, sports day was a highlight for me, all dressed up. And it was,
throughout the week in the Say Shield, in the little things, if it's the soccer, if it's the tug of war, if it's netball, football, oratory, we get a good crowd. People will come up just to watch. People put on the red shirt to help out whenever, the email chain will be flying off 24 hours beforehand, even up to the day. It's exciting. The culture's excellent. Probably the disappointing thing, though, has probably been the Big 4 events. We've probably just let ourselves down this year, being 3rd, 4th, 4th and 5th as well. So in the bigger events, that's probably where we've got to try to look to improve in the next few years. We've got to try to maybe build a bit of a better structure and how we do that. But from the smaller side to things, week to week, from the Piranha Gym to the netball courts and the footy oval, we've been excellent there.
Yeah, perfect. And on that, sort of, Molly wanted to know, how do you feel about Stewart's big sing performance? Because obviously, Molly and I and Cameron...
one of the big performances that we probably let ourselves down with on the day. Surprisingly, we had a bit of an investigation into it, Billy.
Yeah, what the investigation found? What was the
Well, we
root
sort
of
of
the
went
problems?
we went sort of back through, what's went well, what's went wrong, and we did find out that maybe we did maybe a minute too long of singing. Maybe we should have got some more props in, a solo, maybe an instrument. We just didn't have a point of difference.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we tried to win it by being the loudest and like the most complex sort of songs in that.
Yeah, sort of
But-
staying in what you've done previously. and hope that worked
I guess,
again, yeah.
but doing a little bit more singing time, a little bit more dancing and choreography, you limit your ability to be able to nail that to the best of your ability. So that was probably the feedback. It should have been a little bit shorter, should have had a few more props, should have had maybe a solo or something interesting, a point of
Yeah,
difference.
definitely.
And then that'll be something that's moved forward into the
perfect.
future years.
So sort of on that, looking back at things and how you have done things differently, what's something you'd give to, some advice you'd give to Sophie or other year 11s just moving into year 12 next year? What's some advice you'd give to them on year 12?
It's a great question. Let me think. I've probably got 2 or 3 words, I reckon. First one, I'd say it's being authentic. The second one, being passionate. Is there a third word? Authentic, passionate, and probably a vision, I'd say. If you're passionate about something,
Yeah.
you're going to actually want to wake up in the morning, you're going to want to get the goal done.
Yeah.
If you're not authentic, you're not going to have any sort of team element around you to get the goal done.
Yeah.
If you don't have a goal in general, you're not going to get the goal done. And when we look at that sort of perspective side of it, if you want to be an effective leader, you've got to be trying to get things done. You've got to be trying to build up a culture. You've got to be trying to build up a connection. You've got to be trying to, build up respect or something. It might be a value, might be an ethic, might be a goal. And I think that comes down to being passionate about it and getting others around you and being authentic where others want to get you around you.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Like, with something Mollie and I definitely noticed this year is having a group of people around us, like our college captains, to get things done. Like this morning, we had a breakfast with Mr. Ritson to support him and thank him for all the work he's done with the common room, and also show our support for his ride that he's doing in the holidays, which will be really exciting for him. And sort of on that, with building connection, Miss Kumar wanted to know, how do you make people feel so comfortable so they give the really nice, heartfelt, authentic answers on your podcast? What are some of your strategies around that?
To get people to give heartfelt and authentic
Yeah, so how do you,
answers.
when Mollie and I came in to do our podcast back for podcast 8, do you have any strategies to make Mollie and I feel comfortable with the headset and speaking to the mic, or is it just...
Yeah, absolutely. So when you do it, you want to, if I know you, Billy, like I do, it's a little bit easy because we already have that relationship sort of formed. But people that I may not know so well, it's about trying to build some sort of relationship when we're off camera, or that trying to understand the person, be active listeners, not just there for, the 15 minutes, but to be actively listening, to be passionate about what they're doing. Follow-up questions, that's a great way of making people feel comfortable. And then trying to relate as well. When you start relating, asking follow-up questions as well, that's a great way to get people to give authentic answers because they're actually engaged in the conversation.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's really, really good. I think we got one more question here. And Seb, overall, year 12, what's one thing that's been your favourite, absolute favourite you thought, that was perfect, I loved it, it was just favourite day in year 12? What's gone really well for you this year?
My favourite day? At the time or looking back on it?
Why don't we do both?
Okay. Looking back, I'd probably say the first day. First day was a bit of a roller coaster, but I feel like the first day taught me a lot.
Yep.
I reckon that's where I probably grew the most as a person, probably on the first day, and realised that there's probably a bigger team behind me than probably what I anticipated. That's pretty rewarding because everything wasn't going great the first day, but I felt like I had enough support around me to build. When I look back on that now, it was pretty good. And probably in the moment, the basketball win. Probably the basketball win of Stewart was an enormous day because that was the first Hayfield activity. There was a few question marks over the leadership and if we were going to, bounce back from last year or, if we were going to improve. And to get 2 of the 4 basketball titles, I thought was a great accomplishment and really set the tone for a big year ahead. So, yeah.
Perfect. And you spoke about growth just quickly. What's been an area this year that the podcasting, your leadership, and overall year 12, and also Scotch has helped you grow and sort of in areas you didn't really think you'd grow? Or what's been, really valuable growth for you this year?
Really valuable growth. I'd say just probably the mindset just to look at it half glass full and probably be a yes person. Don't be just, I'm going to say no because I can't find a reason to say yes. I'm going to say yes unless I can find a really serious reason to find no.
Yeah, so just give everything
So
a go.
like, and you've already pointed to it. Like the podcast could have easily said, "Nah, sorry, year 12, bit busy." But I was like, "Do you know what? Why not? Let's do it." You know?
Yeah, exactly.
When Sholesy comes and asks me, he's like, "Oh, Seb, do you want to do the girls running?" Oh, don't have to. Maybe not. Oh, don't. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, just
not doing anything else. It's about taking those opportunities when they present. I think that's a great lesson to learn, because opportunities, they will open. I've no doubt they open up. You know, it's just about taking them when they're there. And if you can take them and if you can make the most of them, then more opportunities will present, and then you keep getting more opportunities, and then, you know, you can build from that. So
Exactly.
I think that's important to have that mindset about how you go about things.
Just take all the opportunities you're given is thing that we can really value here at Scotch as well. Yeah, perfect. I think that concludes our podcast today. So next episode, you'll be back in your chair. Molly and I don't think we'll keep our jobs, but yeah, it's been really good to get to know you today, Seb.
And Billy, you've been the first person to come on the podcast twice. So
Yeah,
that's a
thank
very
you.
elusive club now.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, very much an
Just
honour.
yourself.
So thank you. It's, lovely. Love
Yeah,
it.
awesome.
Enjoyed it
Thanks for
very much.
having me, Billy. Episode
No problem.
12, what a wrap. Thank you.